All righty. All right. That's our fancy little introduction. I don't see that in my uh, screen here is showing 5 people. Welcome. This is our first Saturday morning get together, and I think this is like us being little kids on our training wheels. So our purpose today, I think, is mostly just to take any questions from anybody. And so I know you've either joined us on Facebook or YouTube, and you should be able to chat there. So please ask us any questions. And today we have with us, here we go. That's me, Chuck Woodbury. I'm the publisher. There is Dustin Simpson. He is the owner of California RV Specialties in Lodi, California, and he is and his gang there are booked up for a couple months, and because there's, as we all know, it's very difficult to get service on your RVs these days, and so he is very much a part of our organization these days. So he's here if you have any suggestions, questions, whatever about repair, maintenance, that sort of thing. And then my daughter Emily, who's the editor, and she doesn't really want to be here, but I made her. And
That's not true. I wanted to be here, just not the big screen.
okay, all right. Well, you watch out because I can make you fill the screen. And
Oh,
then Tony Barthel. Tony, you must know him by now. He does the daily reviews every day on RV travel. And so he is a good guy to ask about different RVs. And so what's good, what's bad, and what's new. And so our purpose today is just to get some feedback from you. Let us meet us. We didn't publicize this too much, so I'm not expecting much of a crowd. Um, as you probably know, I've been doing this myself for 22 years. Started just right after 9/11. Um, those of you that remember that nobody cared about much of anything, especially RVing at that point. We were scheduled to publish the first issue just, I think, a couple days after 9/11. And of course, I don't know if you remember, but even the late night comedians had a terrible time figuring out what to do because who wanted to talk about funny stuff? It was a sad time. And so we waited a couple of weeks. So I think we just hit 22 years. I can't believe that, that all that time is gone. I don't know where it went. That's a good part of my life. And I'm getting, I think I've been RVing now for 50 years. I know I look like I'm only 30, but that's the reality. Emily has been RVing with me since she was a little kid. She took her first trip when she was a few weeks or a few months. I don't remember.
that's what you're supposed to know. I can't
You
remember back quite that far.
no, and so she's been at this a long time, and her mother and me both being writers, she got some good genes. So she's she's really into it. So and she represents the younger segment of our editorial staff. We have about Emily, about a few dozen regular writers that we count on every week and have a newsletter uh, every day, sometimes two a day. RV Daily Tips is our second biggest that runs during the week. Um, and then Tony has a website that it is called Stressless Camping. That's his thing. He and his wife Peggy, and Tony and I go way, 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 way back.
Yeah.
Although we really know each other. But you read my newspaper out west when I was out on the road. Um,
Yeah, I was a subscriber back in those times.
Yeah,
I've
yeah. I
been
mean,
an
I
RV
started.
enthusiast for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. That was. I started that on the road newspaper when I was. I think I was just in my late 30s, and did that for about 10 years, and it was quite the popular deal. And that's how I learned about um, RVing. Was I had a oh my gosh, some of you know this. It's a 18-foot motorhome that it had a porous roof. It just leaked. I learned to buy an RV all the wrong ways. I bought on emotion, which is, of course, what happens today.
Everybody,
Um,
yeah.
we got a comment here. Let's see who this is from. Oh,
Oh,
Mary, that's not very. That's not. She doesn't have a. You might want to elaborate on that a little bit, Mary. Um, some people would agree with you, I'm sure. And oh boy, that opens a
Yeah.
big discussion.
I'm sorry, Mary.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it,
Oh,
her frustration probably is not getting help.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done, Chuck. I mean, your articles and Emily, all you guys working together and putting all the information out there to try to help the consumer. We're trying
So
to do it.
here's an interesting thing, and it is by no means to disagree with Mary because I think her opinion is shared by a lot of people, especially anyone who's bought an RV. But um, tomorrow's review
It
is
can
of
be built
a new RV from a new manufacturer, and they claim no
better.
maintenance required on the roof at
The
all.
hmm.
So
quarter
ask
inch
me again in
steel.
5 years, but
Did
Yeah,
they
no
say
maintenance on the roof.
what?
no
Go ahead.
maintenance on. They're using a maintenance free materials.
Maybe the material doesn't need to be maintained, but think about any penetration through that roof. There's got
Oh,
to be
right.
some kind of
Well,
sealant or something on it. Maybe the surface, maybe if it's like a van and it's a metal shell or painted.
no, it's a different sealant altogether that they claim is requires no maintenance. They claim.
Like I can say on like a fiberglass roof, we use a self-leveling silicone, and I wish I could put that on all the regular RVs that have TPO roofs and rubber roofs and whatnot. That stuff, you put it on there and it'll last 20, 30 years. You don't have to do anything to it. But the fiberglass has to be waxed and maintained.
Do the roofs on Dustin? You see them all the time. The cheaper RVs, do they have a more an inferior roof over a more expensive one? I mean, is the quality of the roofs vary on
Yeah.
manufacturer to price range? And
Oh, yeah.
So fiberglass is, usually what's going to be on your most of your nicer high-end Class A's.
mm-hmm.
And then some Class C's would start to use a little bit of fiberglass
Mm-hmm.
but mostly everything's, TPO or rubber roof material.
Yeah.
And I wonder if travel trailers or towables for that matter are just significantly more flexible than like Class A, you can put a tile floor in it and not worry about cracking. And I wonder if you could get out of the dealer's lot with a tile floor in a towable.
No.
Well, you could, but it'd have cracks all over it.
Yeah.
Now, why is that?
They're lighter.
Yeah.
I think it's has to do with weight.
Well, one is like I'm always talking about suspension. So, say a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, if you go out and look at, let's say there's a $100,000 fifth wheel, go out and look at the suspension underneath of it, and on a retail versus our cost versus the manufacturer's cost, there's less than $500 worth of equipment on a fifth wheel travel trailer. if it's just standard stuff. Standard equalizers, axles, brakes, hubs, springs. We're talking $500 worth of material that's their cost. You know, our cost may be $800, the retail may be $1,000, but it's 1950, 60, 70 technology. And so that's where it's shaking and moving and flexing. And then the frames, you know, say I'm the builder and Chuck, you're the manufacturer. I call you up, say, hey, Chuck, I want a 30-foot frame. You know, I'm going to put a 10-foot slide out on one side. I'm going to put a 6-foot on the other. So you engineer that, and then I over exceed it. You know, somebody in our, we'll say, design department says, no, let's put the refrigerator over here instead of over there. Or let's put a full-size residential in instead of a, you know, smaller, you know, 7.5 cubic refrigerator. And then it's overweighted.
Mm-hmm.
Or so many of them now are built where they're right on the border. I mean, you walk outside, I walk outside of my shop and I look at the springs and I go, wow, they're already flat and it's brand new. And you know that they built too much weight on that coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, as Lippert, you know, I've toured a number of Lippert's factories and they make probably the vast majority of frames and suspensions for towables. And they'll build whatever you ask them to. If you want, I mean, look at that, like the Ember and now a few other brands are using that Kurt independent suspension with coil springs and dual shocks. They'll build you one of those if you want it, or they'll put the, you know, minimal leaf spring, non-wet bolt suspensions on. It's really the
shackle links.
Yeah, it's really the final RV manufacturer that specifies. And that's one of the reasons that I bought what I bought now twice and potentially a third time, because our trailer is being totaled.
So what brand was it?
Third Rockwood in 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm good at wrecking trailers apparently.
Oh, you hit something or?
No, I was rear-ended. Okay. Well, the first trailer, I hit a dip so hard, I split the frame in half. The second trailer got rear-ended at a construction site, and now I'm going to have a third trailer built sometime in November. So I'll have gone through 3 RVs in 1 year.
Boy.
It's a record.
Yeah. Emily, I know you've got a lot of stuff to do, so I'm going to, you can just stay in the background here. If anybody wants to talk to you, you're here. And if you've got anything you want to say, let me know in private chat.
Yeah, I was telling Dustin I was going to wear my shirt that you got me that says "Go away." I have a deadline.
I know, that's a great shirt. Yeah,
it is a great shirt.
We need a female presence.
Well, if I leave, I'm worried about what the 3 of you are going to talk about for like 16 hours. So.
Well, it'll get a little more geeky. No, we're not going to be here for 16 hours. Everybody, don't get afraid. But anyway, listen, Emily, let's let you do what. And if anybody wants, or if I have a question that I think you can answer better than anybody else, just be ready. Okay.
I'm ready.
Doug Turner says, happy birthday to the newsletter. 22 years. Yeah. Anybody wants to hear how it's all started, just I'll answer your question. And Emily, okay, you go out there and take care of your chickens. That's a whole other story.
It's a whole nother story.
Did the Polish chicken lay its egg yet?
No, not yet. Waiting every day.
Yeah.
My one excited. White egg. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Story for another time.
All right. We're going to take you out for now. So
all right.
We'll have fun.
Bye, everybody. I'll be here in the background.
Okay.
So, Tony, I have an idea. Let's change the industry. Right? So I've been noticing lately a lot of trailers and fifth wheels aren't coming with bumpers on them.
Yeah.
Right? So what if they took like a, I don't know, coil spring, sumo spring like shock and put a nice sturdy bumper on the back so that if you did accidentally bump into something, you wouldn't total the coach. Or, I mean, you know, a car impact or somebody truck hits you, that's different. But think of how many times somebody's backed into a rock or a pole at a campground just to have something.
But then you remember in the 1970s when the government started mandating basically bumpers that would recover in passenger vehicles, and it's so weighty and so expensive. I think, you look at the back of a UPS truck, and that platform is literally on leaf springs.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be something, but I've never backed into anything in a trailer. You just don't.
You should come to my shop. It happens
Oh,
all
I
the time.
know. I've watched people drive.
Yeah. Here we got a nice comment here from Mike. Mike, where do you live? Anybody that's on here, just tell us where are you viewing now? Are you full-time RVers, or are you at home, or just curious, see who's the farthest away. We were playing around the other day. Roseville, California. Mike.
Oh, right on.
I know
My neck of the woods.
Roseville. I went to Sierra College, junior college in Rockland when it was population of a few thousand. And when I lived in Sacramento for quite a while. Renton, Texas. Where's Renton, Texas? Rendon.
I got family in Texas too.
Yeah. Well, we went down there. We were winter visitors there for about 3 months down near Kerrville, in the little town.
Oh, he said 49ers used to practice.
It's funny. When I first went off as a freelance writer, the Super Bowl, the 49ers had won the Super Bowl, and you could stay in the parking lot. This was my first ever RV trip when I was a freelance writer, and they let me stay overnight in the parking lot, and the 49ers were there, and I went out in the morning and just sat right out in front of the cafeteria, and all the guys came by, and I said hi to Joe Montana. He was the quarterback, and then a little later, all the young girls would show up and watch them, and I went into the cafeteria there, and I said to the guy that managed the cafe, the cafeteria, I said, well, I'm curious, what did those guys eat, the year in the training camp the year before? And he says, oh, funny you should ask. He had this list, and it was, thousands of eggs and how many pounds of steak and whatever. And he just here. And he gave me this list, and I sold it to some magazines and made a little money off that. But
I'm scooting in to read some of the writing. Sorry.
Are you on a smartphone?
No, I have it on the side of my screen.
Oh,
because it's in the mode. So I'm reading the.
Where's
let's see, like Johnson's,
Richmond,
Woodbridge, Virginia. And we've got a Woodbridge, California, a rock throw away from me.
Maryland,
Nevada.
Andy's in Lake Havasu. Oh boy, that London Bridge. I was there right in the very beginning. When they had no, I guess I wasn't there at the beginning, but boy, that put that town on the map. Although the village there at the base of the London Bridge is, it never really caught on very well. It's too bad. It was fun. I think it's better in the last couple of years, but it got bad there for a while. Valley of Fire, Janice. Oh my goodness. Everybody should go to Valley of Fire. Whoops. I think I got the wrong one there. Valley of Fire outside Las Vegas. They make a lot of, here we go. That they make a lot of car commercials there. Those really, really red rock. I mean, it equals anything in over in Bryce Canyon and Zion. It's just beautiful. Tailgating at Auburn University.
And Andy Brown from Arizona. I'll be in Arizona in a couple of weeks for RV show.
Which show is that?
It's a parts distribution show.
Oh,
it's not one of the biggest ones, but it's AIM Wholesale. So we go there to purchase parts for the store, and then you get all kinds of tech training, and you try to go in and get deals on product. I mean, they usually give you a percentage off, but it's a pretty neat show because you get to see all the new stuff. And when I go, I'm going to actually record a bunch, and I don't know if I can stream from there, So I'm going to record a bunch of them and then get them to Ashley and Chuck, and they can share them. So I figured, any kind of new products or anything I think that's neat that the consumer should look out for.
Where exactly is it in? It's in Phoenix?
It's in Phoenix, yeah.
You shouldn't have any problem with your internet there, unless it's in some basement of a
Yeah.
facility.
It's going to be in a, I'm not sure if it's a big size hotel or ballroom or where it's going to be, but it's pretty good. I was telling you about coming to that one, but there's one in Colorado, I think toward the end of the year.
That's the outdoor retailer one. I almost went this year. I had to cancel.
Yeah. If either one of you, we should get together and have you guys go to that if you've never been. It's a different kind of experience.
Yeah, I was set to go. I canceled.
The one in Colorado?
Yeah, near Denver.
For Northwest Trailer Parks.
No. This was the outdoor retailers.
Oh, this is something different.
Yeah. Howard, happy birthday. 6 years now and still learning. I'll tell you what. I've been in that for 50 years and I'm still learning, especially from these guys. Dustin's just come on in the last last February maybe, and somebody will put you the link. I think I got the link up here to his well, I'll find it here.
Website.
Yeah, California RV Specialties. How come I don't have your thing up here? Oh well, I'll find it. California RV Specialties. Just type it in. And but then again, most of you aren't going to drive wherever you are from.
Oops, where was it at there?
But they do. They could stop by and.
Going the wrong way.
What are you doing there?
RV Specialist. There we go.
Yeah. I thought I had everybody covered. I didn't know you were for sure coming. That was why.
No, that's all right.
Chuck.
What else we got here? Let's see.
Neil Davis is looking for the RV travel mugs.
Mike, did you see the question from Mike?
Mike who?
1021. I'm not going to pronounce the last name correctly. It says, Dustin, I like the letter to the manufacturers. Did you hear back? Are you on the spot?
Is that about your series on the warranties?
Yeah.
Part
4 just came out today, which was basically like our plea to the manufacturer. So part 1 was why I want to do RV warranty and the benefits that it would help for like our business, and then just helping people in general. Because if you go purchase a new coach, obviously, if you didn't buy it from that dealership, nobody wants to help you. Mm-hmm. If it's, not a brand they sell, they don't want to help you. If it's older than 10 years old, they don't want to help you. So, there's looks like Ashley put that on there. So she must have watched it.
Yeah, it's always good to have the woman behind the man, right?
Exactly.
Or in front of the man, I don't know.
Then part 2 was, and these are all linked on RV Travel. Part 2 was Ashley's, plea against me, like, hey, this is why we don't want to do warranty work. And there's all the struggles in that. So you kind of get like the back and forth between a husband and wife that owns the business. Yeah. And then part 3 was, the selling dealers. Part 4 is now the manufacturers. And then next week, we're going to release part 5, which is our advice to the consumer. What you can do to kind of protect yourself.
Can you sum that up in a few words? Just a little teaser.
Oh, part 5?
Yeah. Or anything. Well, I mean, if you were going to go buy an RV today, mm-hmm. Go beyond meeting the service, beyond meeting your salesman, and go meet the service department. Go meet your service manager, your parts manager, the warranty admin, and pretend like that's a baby, where you have to go take all the shots and, do stuff on it routinely. So I would make an appointment, pre-book a bunch of appointments, go in and say, hey, I want one for 30 days from now, one from 90 days from now, one from 6 months, one 9 months, one 12 months. And the reason that is, maybe Tony, if you've had experience with this yourself, because you bought new ones, if you purchase a new RV,
there's certain things that are excluded after certain time periods. So if there's something that's an adjustment, like a cabinet door or a drawer, and 3 months from now or 6 months from now, you come in, hey, my drawer doesn't open and close right. As a repair side or the dealership, we're now having to fight for you to get that covered. When if it fell underneath the first 90 days, it's just, oh, okay, the cabinet door is out of adjustment. Let's take care of that.
I can't agree more. That's fantastic advice. And it's
Yeah.
amazing how differently various RV manufacturers handle the manufacturer's service to the dealer, which then affects how the dealer can then provide service to the customer.
Yeah. And that's what
there was
four is about.
If you read between the lines of some of my RV reviews, there are certain brands that just, one of them, as some of you may not know, I used to run the warranty department at our dealership too, and there was a brand we got, the initial, you sign up with an RV brand and you get your first 5 rigs delivered. And then from there you have an ongoing relationship and you can order more. And that brand, we never ordered past the first 5. And there was one point I got so mad at their warranty department that required us to fax in claims that I threw the mouse across the office.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it was so bad. And there's other brands where it's just we would go on the computer, we would file the warranty claim, and unless it was something that seemed really bogus, but we wouldn't file those anyway, they would just cover them.
Well, it's tough though, because where did you do warranty admin at?
At Redwood Empire RVs.
Okay. So, I mean, I've, back in the day, Give a Care RV here in Lodi used to be the biggest Northern California dealership. And then I broke away, I opened up my own business, and then I actually quit for a minute and went and ran a camping world for a year. Then I went and ran, or helped with 3 dealerships in the area as well. The stuff I learned from the big box store and from the owners that own 3 dealerships, everybody does it different. And, if we were going to say we were going to become a selling dealership, right, it needs to be a marriage between the manufacturer and the dealership. Cradle to the grave, take care of the kid till he's, raised and out of the house, if you want to say it that way. But the coaches aren't getting inspected properly when they get to the dealership. They talk about PDI a lot, right? So there's 2 PDIs. There's a pre-PDI and there's a post-PDI. So the pre-PDI is the dealership received the unit, they've walked through it, they've made sure there's no impact damage, there's nothing missing. Is there anything that the transport driver did wrong to it? Then it has to go through the shop. Well, yeah, has to go through the shop and get its first round of, hey, does everything work, before they put it out on the lot, clean it and all that. And once it sells, then they go and do the post PDI, which the consumer's paying for. And the manufacturers a lot of times are paying the dealership to do those pre PDIs. It's built into the deal. So the sales department, the service department's charging the sales department to go through that coach. One other thing, it's long, but say you have 2 technicians. One's an older seasoned technician, or age maybe doesn't matter. It could be a young guy or old guy, but one's more thorough than the other. And he goes through, and Tony, you did warranty, right?
And sales.
Okay, so if I went out as a technician and I combed that coach to death and I came back and said, hey, Tony, here's 65 things wrong with this unit that I found under warranty in the middle of summer, you're going to pick what doesn't work, right? Anything sewer, water, power, slide out related, and anything else, all the cosmetic stuff. Oh, I need a cabinet door or molding. Let's wait for the consumer to find it. I mean, would you process 65 items, have to code them all, look them all up, get all the pictures, get all the measurements, send it all in? That'd take you 4 or 5 hours.
Well, and we would drop brands that had a lot of warranty claims right from the jump. I mean, there were brands like that one I spoke of. Every rig that came in had a warranty claim, and
If they
multiple.
don't, there's something wrong. If they don't, that dealership's not doing its job.
Right. But then there are brands that would come in and they were pretty solid. I mean, there was trim would come off and, little stuff like that. And we just figured, we had a tech who did sort of the easier stuff like that. And that he just got, I think, like $15 an hour and just spent his days doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just part of, I guess, costs we absorbed.
Yeah.
But then bigger stuff, slide rooms not working, or just things that would affect your camping experience, that would then trigger a warranty claim.
Yeah.
So
Chuck, an example, like if you were going to go buy a new coach, when I worked at the big box store, they had real low warranty numbers. Our warranty admin that was there at the time, who's retired and I'm still friends with on Facebook, he might get on here, but he was always complaining because the way that they structured his pay was getting paid off of the warranty claims that were paid to him. So when the guys didn't find anything wrong, his paycheck suffered. And so at that point, we designated certain guys to go through and comb through the coaches. Well, the amount of stuff we found wrong, at that point, we were able to go back to the manufacturers and say, hey, here's the same unit, same model. You guys need to slow it down or identify who's doing what wrong. And they were able to correct it going forward, but it had to go up the chain. If it didn't, it was just, let's keep putting that in the same way over and over and over, and it would never get addressed. So not recording it down, not documenting it down, not submitting it to a manufacturer hurts the manufacturer because now they can't correct it. And then if the dealer doesn't care, to do that process, it's just the same snowball rolling down the hill.
Yeah. Let's pause for just a second here and let's take a couple comments out here and see if we can just how we have aged gracefully. Well, I don't know about you, but I mean, I know about me, but and look at, you got a cartoon face there, artist rendering. So it could be either flattering or not flattering, but yeah, I remember you because of your name, because I knew somebody named Maurice. I think that's what it was. Let's see. Okay, is there a quick answer to this one?
I have a problem with my motorhome and need to find parts for Atwood electric jacks. Any help? So Atwood, if it's a motorhome that's somewhere between 1998 and like 2006, I would assume the Atwood stopped producing those jacks. And so my best advice would be look on Amazon, look at like any RV salvage yard. So if you came in and said, hey, we couldn't get that part, you're at a whole new system. You're going to have to change that whole system out and replace it. So, but if you can end up finding the part, check into HWH is kind of expensive. I would say, I can't think of the name of the company that I want to tell them. It's a jack. It's a power jack company that we buy from, and they're all, you can either get electric or you can get independent hydraulic reservoirs per jack, so that instead of having to run hydraulic hoses everywhere, you just mount a jack and the hydraulic small reservoir is right near the jack. It's all 12-volt man. So if you were to break a jack or one jack were to leak, it doesn't. If it was tied in, Tony, say into a whole Class A motorhome where the slide outs are all hydraulic and the leveling system's hydraulic, and now you're stuck. Well, this would prevent you from, you could take the jack off, or you could at least set, disconnect the one jack and everything else would still function.
Okay. Let's see what else. Here's not a question from David Carroll. Western Washington. Where are you in Western Washington, David? Maybe you're my neighbor. I'm still waiting to hear back from Mary, she was our first commenter. She didn't like RVs. Boy, she really doesn't like RVs.
One of the things I think that makes a lot of difference in people's experience with RVs is how much they invest in knowing how to fix things, because there is not an RV that you don't have to fix. And driving from California to just New Mexico over the 40 with that U-Haul, which is that Ford F-53 platform, stuff in the back of that thing just got destroyed from how bad the roads are. I mean, so that's what the RV gets subjected to, right? And naturally, stuff breaks, and there's, as you know, Dustin,
or fifth wheel.
Pardon? Oh no, it was a U-Haul truck.
Oh, okay.
But it's that, that Ford, the same platform they use on a lot of Class A gassers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there is a suspension or they just welded the axles right to the frame, but man,
that's the kind of RVs Chuck used to start out in.
Pardon?
That's the kind of RVs Chuck started out in, right?
What?
The wagon train.
Oh no, I started off. Oh God, my story about my first. Wagon train, 1977 wagon train, Dodge 360. Lucky if you could go 3 trips in a row without some significant mechanical issue. I'll have a special program about that where I'll just complain for an hour.
How many years, Chuck, now have you been doing this again? I forgot.
Well, I started when I was in my early 30s, and I'm 102 now. That's what people think I am, because when I was doing Out West and I was getting all this publicity around the country and on television and everything, because I was doing this on the road newspaper, and people signed up like Tony. He goes way back, and they thought because I was in an RV, because everybody in RVs back then was grandma and grandpa. There was no young people. And so they probably already thought I was 60 or who knows what. And then, that was years and years and years ago. And they find out I'm still alive. It's kind of a big deal.
Well, that was when I ran into you at Quartzsite. I was so happy to finally meet you in person.
Yeah. I still, the people that read Out West, they were mostly older back then, although college students run it too. It was all ages, but
that's what I see now. We got, in our area, Lodi. If me and Tony were just graduated high school, weren't to go rent an apartment, $2,000 a month, so I mean, it'd be cheaper for us to go buy an RV and live in it.
I think that's, by the way, those of you that are asking technical questions here, Dustin will be having his own show here anytime.
I have an answer for Dana, though. Dana
just the one that's on the seats. Oh, go ahead.
No, so Lippert has a jack, and if you look at Ember RV, they're incorporating it, and instead of it being like a vertical, let's see, like a shaft with a motor at the top and all of that, it sits horizontally, and it's a foot that comes down.
Yeah, it's called a kick down.
And you could drop the tailgate, and that it would take some retrofitting of the A-frame in the front of the trailer, but that is a heck of a great system.
Yeah,
and it's it doesn't take it completely smooths out the top of the tongue, so you could drop the tailgate of your pick-em-up truck.
Yeah. There was another question there, Chuck, too, about from Deborah Fitzer. Is that how you pronounce it? About the seats. So on the seats, seating is kind of personal for me. I kind of get frustrated with them. On your seat for your Phaeton, on both the driver and passenger seat, there's a tag underneath, just like you'd have on like a on your bed, a data. It's called a data tag. So on any furniture, there's a data tag. If you get that number off that tells that manufacturer if they're still in business, which on a Phaeton I would assume is probably Flex still. It's like the birth certificate. So if you call them up with that number and say, hey, I need to replace the lower section of my seat or the upper section, they'll have the information they need to make you a new one. So, but as far as flaking, I do a lot of posts on like products to put on the interior, which was on RV Travel, I think, as well, to protect it. So it's just like dry skin. There's products to clean the couches with and the chairs with, and there's products to add to them. So things like dry skin, not putting lotion on it. And then another issue is, go ahead.
Here's an interesting bit. I went to Lippert's furniture factory a few months ago, whatever it was. And it was fascinating, first of all. I mean, the size of this building is insane. But one of the things that the tour guide said is that, all materials, when a fabric company sells a couch material, whatever, they say, oh, it's good for this many rubs or, this type of environment. And nobody had ever tested this material for bug spray or suntan oil.
Yeah.
And they said they tested it with several bug sprays, including DEET, and it just destroys the fabric. And it's something, obviously, that your couch probably doesn't get affected by, but your RV does.
Yeah.
And so they're working to develop fabrics that are more resistant to the stuff we RVers deal with. But it's just something nobody ever thought of, It's
I see it like hairspray, lotion.
What's hairspray?
Hairspray?
Hairspray. I'm not familiar with it.
Neither of you guys should be talking about hairspray.
Want to hear a funny hairspray story?
I've got plenty of those. I was born and raised in a beauty shop.
I built a potato gun, and one of the things you can use to fire a potato gun is that old Aquanet hairspray.
Oh, that was my go-to.
Right? So I went to a dollar store and I bought them out of that Aquanet, and there I am with like 10 cans of Aquanet, and the lady just looks at me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, my beard."
Oh.
Chuck, I have pictures on my Facebook where I have long hair and I had a big old swoop of hair back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I would Aquanet that thing so much you could hang your head out the window and it'd not move the hair.
I remember way back. I remember Butchwax. Oh God. Your hair wouldn't even move. It was wax. Hey, I want to pause for 1 second here. I want to ask those people who are watching, what time do you think we should do these kind of things? Because we're going to do a lot of them. Should we do these in the evenings? See, we have the issue is we have most of our readers are in 3 time zones. So if we do something here at 4 o'clock our time in Seattle or in the West, that's 7 in the East. So, I'd love to have them all in the evening, but if we started at, have a program between 8 to 10, well, that's, going to be after midnight in the, on the East Coast. And so my thinking about doing this at 10 o'clock this morning was that a lot of people, when we put out a newsletter, most people, I'd say in the first 2 hours in the morning, probably half the people are going to read that will read that issue, will read it then. So I thought, well, there'd be people online and a lot of them will be, won't forget, get out and do things. But are we, is that not a good time? You're here, so probably you're not the ones to ask. We should ask the ones that aren't here. But in the early evening, anybody just want to weigh in on that you have what your gut feeling is about that? This is a wonderful thing to be able to do this, to just sit here and talk with people. And I invite anyone who's in this audience who has a specialty about RVing to contact me, chuck@rvtravel.com. And are you interested in doing an hour show and moderating it? I mean, Dustin's already on board. Tony, if he wants to do something, he's welcome to do it. We're all volunteering at this point, but one day we may get some financial support. We get a big audience. I mean, we've got 26 people on right now. It's not exactly network television, but we didn't publicize this one hardly at all. So early evening is good, Deborah. L. Johnson, evenings are better for me on the East Coast. Mike, you want AM is best. Yeah, well, I guess maybe we'll end up. What about weekends too? Now, here's a question for all of you. Our Saturday newsletter, which is more like just general interest stuff, is not nearly as popular as our Sunday newsletter, which gets a lot more people. Do you like the news aspect on Sunday because it's mostly news, or do you like the lifestyle stuff? Or we're trying to figure out, or are you busy on Saturday? Everybody's out, then why Sunday?
The other thing too, Chuck, that's nice is these are being recorded, so they're being released on YouTube, so people can go back at any time and watch. So
yeah.
I
I mean, that's
what better works for.
When we had our little studio a few years ago, and Gary Bunzer and I would do. Gary was the RV doctor who, and one of my best friends who died of COVID here. It's going on a couple of years. What a sad loss that was. But we would do these, and we'd have at least a few hundred people would be on. I mean, the chat kind of gets out of control. You got to really be careful about it. I mean, the chat screen it's constantly moving. Mike says RIP Gary. I
see one from Neil. He wants to buy an RV travel mug.
Neil, write to me, chuck@rvtravel.com. Just please write to me, and I have an idea for you. So chuck@rvtravel.com. So anyway, we're trying to figure out what, Saturday mornings are slow going. This is L. Johnson. It is great if you on YouTube to view later. Okay, I think maybe we'll do a survey in the newsletter and ask people, because
maybe we do a few more and then get it out there a little bit more and then do the survey.
Well, Dustin, you've got so many groups on Facebook that I just put this today on two different our Facebook page and our YouTube page. That's it. But we can literally put this on 50 pages. And so we'll do that. But like I said, we're beginners with this technology, which is really pretty new. So and we're getting it fast. But I don't want to, we don't want to be. If any of you know anybody that just retired from a production part of a television station or something that might want to just dabble with us, I'd appreciate hearing from them. Howard
on Sundays.
Sunday mornings. Well, Sunday morning is when people read the Sunday newsletter, and then Monday's big because that's our RV Daily Tips newsletter goes out on Monday, and I think Monday a lot of people are back from the weekend and they catch up because I think a lot of them then read Saturday, go back and read back issues. Mike Moscarelli, are you from the Sacramento area? That's not a real common name, and I remember a guy I went to college with had that name, Mike Moscarelli. That's interesting.
I got a question for Tony. Tony, I'm still like getting to know you and what type of stuff you're doing. So you're basically doing, or just tell me about Tony.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Everybody, get ready to be bored. So
because you're an ambassador for somebody, right? For Forest River,
right. I worked at a dealership. How far back do we want to go? I worked at a dealership. I did warranty and sales. I left the dealership because I kept hearing the same questions over and over, and decided I wanted to start a place where people could find the answers. And that's, and then of course COVID hit, and all my friends at the dealership were making so much money. One of them went and bought a new Ram 3500 diesel for cash. So there you go. Yeah, it was, COVID sales were spectacular. But I've written a syndicated car column for many, many years, and I like writing. So we provide content to a lot of people. And of course, the daily RV review over at RV Travel, and then gadget reports. So that's a brief synopsis of me.
Yeah, we do that. Tony writes a weekly column for sponsored by RV Travel. It is byline RV Travel for the newspaper in the Villages in Florida, which is it's the biggest retirement community and they have the healthiest newspaper I've ever these days. And in fact, it's the biggest daily newspaper in Florida now. It's bigger than Miami Herald or the Tampa Tribune or whatever, which is just crazy. But it's a full page. It runs a full page, and I think the Friday editions, Tony, I don't know, Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, we hope to syndicate that in some other publications, some other daily newspapers. It's sad to say, but the newspapers are really kind of match our demographic, which is an older audience. And the young people do not read newspapers. It's sad for those of us that used to read 2 a day.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Ashley asked a question, but let's see. You want to pull up Ashley's question, or maybe what she's maybe.
Whoops, that's not Ashley. Ooh. Well, Andy, write me Chuck at rvtravel.com and tell me about yourself. We can always use some help, and we pay our writers if they want to do it, if they're serious about it. I'm not going to ask people to write for nothing. I got an email yesterday from an actual magazine that's on the newsstand in Barnes and Noble and elsewhere, and it had a tab that said "Write for us," and I went in there, and they don't pay a penny to any of their writers. And then it said, and then in the Q&A it said, how do I get a hold of if you publish my article, how do I get a hold of it and get a copy? And they said, well, we'll send you a link to the digital edition, and they said, if you want the print edition, just go into our back order section and order it. So not only do they want them to write for free, they're going to charge you for a copy of your article. This is just plain unfair. I was a freelancer for 10 years and I starved because magazines didn't pay me enough, and enough was very low. Magazines were selling ads for $35,000 a page, would be paying their freelancers the equivalent of $150, $200 a page. No, they would just you get a good magazine, you make a lot of money, and that's just taking advantage of people. Sorry, I got on my.
No.
I'm really. I'd like to talk one of these days about our Johnny Robot column, which is all the stories that are now being written by artificial intelligence. We'll probably do a whole show on that, and I'll explain to you how that's working. It's really you're reading a lot of stuff that's just not written by humans. It's very hard to tell, but they do give themselves away. And you've got some of these RV websites that are popping up all the time are those people could be anywhere in the world and hardly have any knowledge of the English language, and yet using this artificial intelligence, they can turn out. Oh, how about this? Here's a little something to you to show you. This is an actual ad from artificial intelligence.
I seen one the other day, and I forgot to screenshot it, but it was talking about a repair, and it was, it was completely opposite of what you're supposed to do. So it was like if they would have done what the article said, the consumer would have messed up their roof.
Yeah, here, look at this right here. This is for sure. This was part of a story. This is a subhead. We'll explain the differences between an RV and a travel trailer if you're unfamiliar. An RV is a motorhome that you drive like a car, but with the added benefit of being able to live in it and having a lot of conveniences. Well, that's not very good writing. A travel trailer is similar to an RV. Similar. Well, a travel trailer is an RV. So somebody that wrote this was not an experienced RVer. They didn't even know that. There was another one that I wanted to put up here was the writer. This was a very big website.
Hauled by a car. Did you see that part? And it says a travel trailer, on the other hand, is hauled by a car.
Yeah. And it says, as a result, when it comes to travel trailers, there are fewer rigors, propane restrictions. What? Because the travel trailer isn't directly connected to the vehicle's engine, propane is less likely to have an adverse effect on it. What does that mean? And does that make any sense to either of you? No.
Not at all.
But the one the other day was it was about odors in your kitchen or in your RV, and so they mentioned the kitchen sink, and it said only some RVers have garbage disposals. Well, have either of you heard of an RV with a garbage disposal? And somebody didn't know what they're talking about. These content creators, somebody used this $59 a month program, and I'll do that live on one of these. Well, I'll show you how
I've only
do that.
Something like that, Chuck, once, and it was on a Newell that was like a $2.5 million coach, and they had kind of rigged up like a macerator on one side of the double sink to kind of grind everything up to spit it into the system.
You would not, but to say some RVs, it should have said virtually none.
0.00001.
That's about it. So here's a Google return for an RV is a motorhome that you can drive like. This was out of these top results. They all had that keyword. But you can look at the description Google gives it, and then here's another story. Look at these are right at the top of Google returns. We're not going to be there because we don't play that game.
Yeah.
And here's another one, and look at those. Look at how common those are. Actually, the first these last two there are the same website, but
oh yeah,
I'll tell you how they do this. It's frightening because everybody's doing it. They're going to make a lot more money a lot easier than we are by just writing for readers, and so that's why I'm still around it, because I get mad at this stuff. And we didn't show your let's see, get off of this. Yeah, I think Ashley will get more sophisticated about this. Right now, I'm afraid to push this too hard because as you can tell, I'm hitting the wrong buttons once in a while. So it's 11 o'clock. We probably should wrap this up. I mean, I don't care. I'll sit here for the next 3 hours. But I will say this, that if any of you know any people that are not subscribed to RV Travel, You can go to rvtravel.com, subscribe, tell them to sign up, tell your friends. And if any of you want to help support us, the more 4% of our audience voluntarily gives us donates some kind of money. Some of them it's $5 every 5 years, and some they do $5 a month, some 10, whatever. It just makes us less dependent on advertising. Advertising, no matter what anybody says, puts pressure on you to not say anything bad about them because they'll just pull their support. So anyway, those are just a couple things. But anybody, the two of you have something you want to say, or somebody got another comment they want to leave with us? And
go ahead, Tony.
Yeah.
Not particularly. I really appreciate people reading the daily RV reviews and all of the people who write in with questions and suggestions. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I just want to say, hey, I'm a small town guy in a small shop. I broke away from a dealership because I couldn't help the customers the way I wanted to. And, to me, I was told a long time ago, hey, kid, come here. You treat that guy with respect. He worked his whole life to buy this RV. That's the second biggest investment of his life. You take care of it like if it's yours. And that's stuck with me my whole life. So, that's somebody's grandpa or dad or somebody out there. So I try to do what I can. That's why I created all those different groups. I even same thing with Chuck. I appreciate you so much, Chuck. I've learned so much already from you just being a part of all this. It's helped me. It's helped our business.
Yeah.
Even meeting Tony, we all have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And, and like that Johnny Robot thing, that's bad. It's going to end up hurting somebody or get somebody to buy something that they don't need. They're
reading bad information, and all of these people are writing this. The Johnny Robot, the rule is you go there, and I've got the video I'm going to run one of these days, and they tell you if you want to be number one, you go in and you find the number one stories on a particular keyword, and then you go in and you copy that first paragraph, you put it in Johnny Robot, and it will spit out a slightly different version of that same exact article. And then you do the second paragraph, and you will have a new article. You're not plagiarizing, but when you look at them together, you will see that they are very similar. And so if you don't play that game, in other words, writing for Google, then you're not going to show up. And that's why we have a newsletter, and we can go to the people. And if Google doesn't like us and they want to put us on the 5th page because we don't have enough keywords in the first paragraph, then too bad. We'll hang in there. So
I noticed the same thing with Facebook too, Chuck. Like I'll post stuff out there, and sometimes Facebook allows it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll take it down just for whatever reason. Somebody will submit something because they're mad or jealous, or maybe they're a competitor or whatever. And it just stops it. So censorship. This is nice to have a free platform to be able to express how we all feel. And
I think with this video we can do a lot. And I don't know about you, Dustin and Tony, but this is another opportunity for me to go out and some days get on my soapbox and in a different way than just with words. I am never going to shut up about these poor people buying cheap RVs and financing them for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
When the RVs are going to last for 5, and they think that, that $300 a month payment, we can pay that. They don't realize double that with, taxes, putting money away for repairs, but even more than double. Tony, you look like this is registering with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things a lot of people don't realize also is it's not just buying the RV and insuring and registering it, but a lot of people then realize that their HOA won't let them park it on their own property. So then they put it in storage, and then it gets broken into.
Yeah. Talking about the broken into thing real quick. If you have a unit and it's at a storage yard or even on your property out in the country, and let's say you leave, take a piece of paper, laminate a piece of paper and put on there that there's nothing worth the value in this coach. There's no food, there's no clothing, there's no tools. And then if you're going to break in here, put the entry door window on there. Don't pry the door, just break through the window and reach in and turn the lock.
Or just leave it unlocked. I mean, we had a friend
who do that too. But
we had a friend who stored an RV at a storage lot, and the idiot thieves broke in through the slide room, which, I mean, I know you can imagine just how bad that damage is.
Well, I'm sorry, Chuck.
No, I'm just going to say that. I was just going to say that the RV industry, there is no consumer organization for RVers that's honest. Oh, thank you, Mike. I don't even know how you do that. Did you just do that through YouTube?
Oh, wow.
$25. Thank you. Are you from this? Where did you go to Sacramento State? Yeah.
Chuck, it's good to see you.
Oh, Mike, maybe I knew you through out west. Then it wasn't in college, huh? Oh yes, of course. I'm sorry, I'm losing my memory shot. Of course, we saw you at an RV show up here, right? A couple years ago. Yeah. Sorry, ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, listen, we could keep going here, but we're going to do more of these. So tell your friends about it. And yeah, okay. Yeah.
Love that.
Westbridge. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. See, that's fun. There's one more question here for you. This for Dustin.
I'm gonna jump off because the appliance delivery folks are here.
Okay.
So, thanks,
Tony. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure seeing you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So
you
want to read it?
Go ahead. Read it.
Dustin, we have a 2018 Van Lee Volano 325 RL. I would like to do more of routine maintenance myself, specifically wheel bearings and suspension on live bolts. My question is, what grease should I use? I have found 10 different people on the forum and 10 different answers. So what's bad, like we were using a red high temp grease, and then I have a customer that's a chemical guy that's through a company called Coots Oil here in Lodi, and I said, hey Pete, you know all about lube, what's the best lubricant? And so he actually brought us in a sample. He said, hey, there's this new synthetic lubricant, I don't remember the technical name. He brought in like 10 pages of information that engineer way over my head, right? So he said, there's so many different greases that we use. So what my example was, say you went to Les Schwab or you went to me or whoever did your wheel bearing pack. Well, if you go to add grease to it and you add a different brand of grease, a lot of times it'll have a chemical reaction and it can become corrosive and it can damage the seals and the wheel bearings and the races. So this one particular grease that he sold us, and it was really expensive. You can put any other grease with it if you had to. It's compatible with, he said, almost anything. I'll see if I can find the name and maybe post it on a site. But as far as suspension and stuff, make sure you're doing wheel bearings, every 12 months, 12,000 miles. Check into all the different suspension enhancements. We work on Van Lees all the time, and a lot of them we upgrade the suspension to the Roadmaster slipper spring set with the shocks. The springs are lifetime guaranteed. The shocks are lifetime guaranteed. And, you go from, if you have a standard equalizer or you have like a Dexter or MoRide or one of the other brands, you have 18 moving parts. So if you upgrade it to like a Roadmaster, you go from like 18 to like, I don't know, I want to say 4 bolts now that could break instead of 18 bolts. So something to think about. Hopefully that helped answer your question. Sorry.
Hey, Bob, just send this question off to me at chuck@rvtravel.com, and I'll forward it to Dustin, and he can get back to you rather than just, yeah. So do that.
Yeah, sorry.
No. Well, you can't do everything, and covered. I mean, my goodness, we've covered a lot in a little over an hour. But hey, I'd sit here, keep going. But anyway,
Whatever you want to do, Chuck.
yeah. Well, I think I'll better go do something else. I've been learning this program it's really being able to do this, and multiple cameras and graphics is something that was just impossible even 15 years ago. And if you go back 25 years, it would have cost you $250,000 to be able to do what we're doing. It's crazy. And I like this.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I like this, being able to just be casual about it. And
well, it's nice to be able to help people.
Yeah.
They can ask questions, and instead of paying somebody to get an answer, or
yeah, well, it's fun.
I always try to give them truthful whatever I can tell them.
5 minutes.
I was going to show them my 2 dogs. If you didn't care, they keep crawling up to the door every once in a while.
No, bring your dogs. Bring them over.
I just think their names are neat.
I got one in my feet too.
RV Hitch. RV
and Hitch.
RV and Hitch. ARVIE. So this is she likes the French kiss. This is RV, and she always likes the French kiss.
Is she a
she's a Boston Terrier?
Boston Terrier, yeah.
And you have to really watch the tongue. She gets you every time. Oh, she's about 1.5 years old. So this is RV, and she's on a lot of our ads, and we have a couple videos for her. Come here. And then this is our little baby boy, Hitch, who's bigger than RV now. And he's a Boston Terrier. So hi, Chuck. He's 6 months now. And we named him Hitch just, because being in the RV industry, everybody that travels loves dogs. And so we do. Yeah,
our readers are more, I forget the survey, but more people travel with dogs than without them. Few people bring cats along, but and we do have a veterinarian on our staff, and she writes about everything, but she is a veterinarian, so we'll probably have a show with her. People can talk about traveling with pets.
Yeah, we have 2 cats too. I won't mention their names because they're political, but
oh no, don't do that. I don't want to hear that. No. We stay away from politics, because that's gets us in trouble. Yeah,
we love everybody.
Yeah. Well, we all should be that way. We all should just accept that it's historically, except for periods of time, we've always got along. Disagreed, yes, but that's why I think you sit around a campfire in a campground, and people, I don't know, you can sit there for a couple hours with people, and if politics doesn't come up, or somebody doesn't start spouting off certain things that they don't really know what they're talking about, we all get along,
going out to a campground. I mean, I know that lady said that I forgot what it was, her comment, she hated RVs, or what did she say again?
Yeah, RVs suck.
RVs suck, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love RVs. I love working on them. I love talking to the people that come in. I'm always asking them questions, what did you used to do, and where do you like to go? And so that me and Ashley can know where to go.
Oh, yeah.
My last, we'll say, bad RV experience was, I'm a young, dumb guy. We went up to a place called Spring Gap. It's up here by Strawberry in California.
Oh, yeah.
Signs in the campground, no rafting. It's my dog ball. No rafting allowed. So I had a brother-in-law at the time, from Colorado. He loved the Colorado River, called him the rafting king or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get out there, we almost died on a raft. We got stuck and had to be helicopter out, life flight, had hypothermia.
Oh, dear.
Well, we didn't want to go to the hospital. So going back to the campground side of it, the whole campground came out and seen us stuck and seen the helicopter lifting us out of the water. So when we came back, we were the heroes of the campground, and everybody came and brought us food, and that was so crazy. And can we help you? And are you okay? And we made so many new friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they found out what we did for a living, and so it's still today, and that's probably been, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and still today some of those people, hey, you're not out rafting, right? So It's
Lots
kind
of
of
stories.
people you
Yep.
meet, and if you don't like your neighbor, you can take off and move.
You can take off and move as long as you can find a campsite.
Yeah, that's another bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the campgrounds around here are pretty full. And I know it's difficult for our industry right now. We need more technicians. We need more training. The campgrounds need to expand and update, and
It's
hopefully-
all things to talk about, and
Yeah.
and I think for the few of you that are still on here, we'll have really go for some quality guests
Yeah.
and this and our other shows, and I mean, I probably will limit this Saturday thing just to our members, those people that have given us anything, 4%, just because we appreciate that, and it's only fair that they should have some benefit,
Yeah.
other than just wanting to help us out and keep us going. My friend Greg Gerber, who published a thing called RV Daily Report, which was the best industry, the most honest, he said the wrong things, and he lost all his advertising, and he was out of business. So we can lose all our advertising if we say something is dangerous and we're not afraid to say it, and the company doesn't like what we said. Go ahead, pull your advertising. We don't have any big advertisers. Just
That's like, I don't, as far as like companies and stuff that we do work for, I always just straight shoot with them. If they're doing something wrong or I don't like it, I just call it, and Nashco says bite your tongue, but
I'm pretty I've been doing this a long time. I've seen a lot of changes, good, bad, ugly. And there's something about doing this for a long time and remembering, I won't call them the good old days, but I will say they were different. Things were different. You can't, and especially now with, double the amount of RVs being sold every year over what it was 10 years ago. That's made a big difference.
It's changed.
I gotta get going here.
Take care,
Dustin.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, thank you everybody, and that's about it. So I guess we'll say,
let us know what you want to hear.
What
you want us to talk. So if you guys are watching, if you have questions, or let us know if there's a subject you want us to talk about, or if you have something new in the industry you want to tell us.
Yeah, tell your friends. Next week we'll do it at the same time and see if we can. We'll publicize it a little bit better and see if we can get a little bit bigger crowd and build this up to the point where maybe we can get a sponsor for these modest amount just to cover our costs. I think Dustin, I don't know about you. Well, I think I know about you, but I love doing stuff like this. I could sit here all day and talk about RVing. So
I just think it's neat for something that, my kids can see. Kids can see, and who was grandpa, and
they'll
what do you do?
You'll see one day and go, wow, I sure was young.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
bye-bye.
Chuck.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.